Hi, all you crafty travelers. It's Lonnie. And still in West Yellowstone, one more day. I'm going to go visit the Yellowstone Museum and Visitor Center. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Now I'm going to go into the Yellowstone Museum. It's right here in West Yellowstone, and it's right across from these stores. The visitor center is across the street, and there's a grizzly bear wolf museum down the street. Here is the entrance to the Yellowstone Historic Center Museum. It has stagecoaches, trains, buses, planes, video featuring the fires of 1988 and 1959 earthquake. Touring the park has been a national and international pastime since its inception. Late in 1915, Yellowstone began allowing automobiles into the park. They decided in the spring, but it took until August for the road to dry out enough to be accessible by vehicles. It's said that the wildlife was less startled by engines than they were by heavy wagons pulled by horses. Later that year, the park allowed touring vehicles to operate, and the Yellowstone Transportation Company decided to procure touring cars and buses of their own. At one point, the need was huge, having over 350 vehicles. 50 white touring cars were operating in the park from 1917 to 1924. A total of 27 1936 Model 706 buses were used in Yellowstone, and by 1939, a total of 28 Model 706s of various years were in use, the largest number of National Park touring buses operating anywhere. Buses of this style were also used in Yosemite and Glacier National Park. This is a water wagon that we use both to deliver water as well as to help fight fires. Sorry you can't see the printing on these pages, but it talks about the porch in front, where they have had many different activities, including Pie on the Porch, which resumed in 2021, selling whole pies. The Museum of the Yellowstone is dedicated to telling the story of travel to and through Yellowstone National Park and the park's influences on West Yellowstone. The museum is managed by the Yellowstone Historical Center, a nonprofit located in West Yellowstone. Founded in 1908, the community of West Yellowstone began with the arrival of rail services to the location. The railroad facility built by the Union Pacific Railroad in West Yellowstone are encompassed in the West Yellowstone, Oregon Short Line Terminus Historic District. The forms of transportation bringing tourists to the Yellowstone National Park have changed immensely through the years, from horses and stagecoach to modern airplanes. For Yellowstone, the train era was 1883 to 1960. Carrie Adele Strayhorn, January 1st, 1854 to 1925, was an American explorer and pioneer. She has been called the Mother of the West and the Queen of the Pioneers. She was one of the first white women to make a complete tour of Yellowstone Park in 1911. She published 15,000 miles by stage. Gilman Sawtelle was one of the first guides into Yellowstone. In 1871, Sawtelle guided a group of businessmen from Deer Lodge and Virginia City on a tour that covered the Geyser Basins, Yellowstone Lake, and the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. The trip made Sawtelle the first commercial guide to Yellowstone. Several of these travelers described the trip in newspaper articles. These articles appeared in Virginia City, Helena, and Deer Lodge. They fueled Montanans' interest in visiting the upper Yellowstone, encouraging the U.S. Congress to establish the national park. Charles Nargang was a gear jammer. Charles started driving for the Yellowstone Bus Company in the late 1930s. The drivers were called gear jammers because of the double clutch transmissions that were quite noisy. Each driver had a nickname. Charles' nickname was Put Put to the other drivers and tourists he drove. Harold H. Christensen, better known as Chris, was the first pilot to fly into what was the original West Yellowstone Airport in October 1934. He delivered mail in and out of West Yellowstone during the winter months. He also flew scenic tours over Yellowstone, pointing out all the sights and giving a unique perspective of the view from above. The Beanery Queens. When the Yellowstone Special pulled into the train station, the Beanery Queen, as the Union Pacific Lodge waitresses were known as, stood on the platform welcoming the passengers. West Yellowstone's Eagle Store celebrates 115 years. Built by the owners Sam and Ida Eagle while working summers at the Fountain Hotel in Yellowstone National Park, Sam and Ida Eagle saw opportunity upon learning that the Oregon Short Line of the Union Pacific Railroad planned to run a spur route to west entrance of Yellowstone National Park. Sam and Ida built a second store in 1910 and had expanded to a third section in 1916. Sam worked diligently to have the leased land near the railroad changed to land for purchase, which was instrumental in the development of West Yellowstone as a town. Sam and Ida were leaders in the community and active both in business and personally. Dumpster bears and Old Snaggletooth. Do not feed the bear. The management of wildlife and the presence of humans continues to be an ongoing struggle for national parks. Learned about the history of bears in the area and met Old Snaggletooth, West Yellowstone's most famous dumpster bear. Standing nearly 8 foot tall and weighing 800 to 1,000 pounds, the giant grizzly reigned as monarch in Yellowstone Park. His name came from a tooth which protruded from his lower jaw, except his favorite hangout happened to be the Yellowstone City dump. 2 poachers from Idaho shot and killed him there in May of 1970. 1959 earthquake is among the most severe to ever strike an area in the Rocky Mountains. The earthquake caused a massive landslide which dammed a river and created Quake Lake. The 1959 Hibgen Lake earthquake, and also known as the 1959 Yellowstone earthquake, occurred on August the 18th at 11 p.m. at night when campers were sleeping. The earthquake measured 7.2 on the monument magnitude scale. It caused a huge landslide resulting in over 28 fatalities. The slide blocked the flow of the Madison River, resulting in the creation of Quake Lake. The 1988 fires of Yellowstone remain as the largest fires in the history of Yellowstone National Park. Over 1/3 of the total acreage of the park was impacted by the wildfires. The fires formed the largest wildfire in the recorded history. They started as many small individual fires. The fires quickly spread out of control due to the drought conditions and increasing winds, combining into one large conflagration which burned for several months. The fires almost destroyed 2 major visitor destinations, and on September 8, 1988, the entire park closed to all non-emergency personnel for the first time in history.
The summer rains that normally extinguish summer fires never came.
I want to thank you for watching my video all the way through. If you found it interesting and liked it, please give me a thumbs up, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay crafty when visiting Yellowstone Museum.